Hey guys, do you like breakdowns of your favorite shows? Check out our new show, Watch Club, where we break down shows like Westworld and some of your other favorites. Enjoy!
Welcome to MojoTalks, and this is Watch Club, the show where we break down the biggest shows on TV. I am your host, Matt, and this is Phoebe, and we will be discussing Season 2, Episode 3 of Westworld. So we're going to get right into it. We're going to talk about our favorite moments. I'm going to throw it to Phoebe. So Phoebe, what were yours?
There were a lot of good moments in this episode, I feel. My personal favorite was when Delores was talking to the Confederados at the castle.
Right.
And she called herself Wyatt.
Call me Wyatt.
You're Wyatt.
Yes.
That was very interesting.
I was creeped out by that a little bit, to be honest.
I feel like Wyatt is sort of taking over her sensibilities, because we know from the first season that she sort of has Wyatt's, DNA, if you will, spliced into her own. So I feel like he's taking over, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
We see that she's pretty savage in this episode, and I think that that might be why.
You definitely see that. So some of my favorite moments, the cold open, I thought, was the best of the season, for sure. It's only been 3 episodes, but it was the best. It might have even been one of the best of the whole show, I think. So basically, we were introduced to this colonialism in India time, and we were introduced to a new character that was very cool. Basically, what I loved about it so much was that Bengal tiger scene. I was just surprised that she was able to outrun it for that long.
That's it, yeah.
But you suspend belief a little bit. It was creepy when the lion, or the tiger, I should say, jumped at her and then it just cut to black. I thought that was creepy.
It was really creepy when she was
scary.
overlooking the water, and it was so dark. I was afraid for her.
Yeah.
And when she jumped, and when the tiger jumped after her, I was like, "There's no way. There's no way she's gonna survive this." And then we see her at the end of the episode, which is pretty crazy.
And then you realize that she might be pretty important going forward.
Yeah, she might be.
And
another moment that I really liked was when Delores was reunited with Abernathy.
Yes,
and
we knew it was going to happen.
That's it.
Yeah.
I don't know that we thought that it was going to happen this way. It was pretty shocking when she first sees him and she's trying to hold her composure and say take him away, I want to see him in private. And when she sees him, it's so sad, it's so heart-wrenching that he recognizes her for a split second and then sort of goes a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
I need to talk to this one alone. Untie him. I'm only gonna ask him once.
Come on. Ask me twice.
And what's really interesting actually about that scene is when Bernard is helping him and he's looking at his coding, you can see that he has all of these overarching narratives sort of conflicting with each other.
Yes.
And that sort of feels like what this episode was. I don't know if you agree with me. There's a lot of things going on at the same time.
Yeah.
So I think that was a nice little Easter egg there.
Oh, I didn't think of that. I just basically thought it was literally, this is the reason why, but it's literally just to kind of mask the fact that he's hiding all these secrets,
Yeah.
That's why Bernard's there's overarching stories here. They're trying to hide something. There's a much bigger file here. So yeah, that's interesting. I didn't think of that. Another one I'm just going to talk about really quick was Rebus, the guy with the mutton chops. He's so angry. He has all of the humans there tied up. He's about to give them off to the Confederados, but then they capture him and they reprogram him, and then he just becomes super nice all of a sudden. I thought that was a hilarious little comedic
really
kind of
funny,
moment.
yeah.
When one of the women, one of the ladies are running up the hill and he's like, "Not that way, it's dangerous, let me escort you." And she's like, "Get away from me." It's just such a 180. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah.
Hey, can't roll through these hills. I'll escort you. Keep me safe. Let's go.
So Phoebe, what did you see that the audience might have missed in this episode?
Well, at the very beginning of the episode, when we're in India World, we see one of the hosts rebelling. So this is sort of, the rebellion is moving towards the other parks.
Yes.
And the host says under his breath, Dolores' iconic line, he says, "These violent delights have violent ends."
Horror.
No.
These violent delights have violent ends.
Can't you put the gun down?
So my sort of hypothesis about this is that possibly the hosts have a bit of a hive mind. Because how could he have known that line that Delores constantly says?
It's such an iconic Delores line at this point.
So I feel like it's maybe a hint that there's a bit of a hive mind between the hosts in the different parks, which is
Very
really interesting.
Yeah.
And as my second thing that you noticed, when Charlotte is finally rescued by the Delos agents, they're not sure whether or not she's a human. They don't recognize her, so they have her at gunpoint, and she's saying, I'm a human, I'm a human. And she turns around, and they put the testing device to the back of her neck.
Charlotte Hale. Here.
Go ahead, get a reading.
Clear.
Now,
Right.
this, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time that we see this device in the series.
Correct.
And I feel like it's very interesting because later in the episode, when we see Bernard, who's trying to help Abernathy, he's sitting in the corner when they're coming to take away Abernathy, and they don't even recognize him. They don't really give him a second glance, even though he's such an important person in the park. So I think that maybe this is actually foreshadowing that maybe Bernard won't be recognized by the agents next time, and they'll test him and expose the fact that he is actually a host.
That's because he's had a lot of free passes so far.
Yeah.
Like when he was washed up on the beach and they were with guns at his face and like, who are you, who are you? You figure that maybe they would test him there, but luckily Stubbs, Luke Hemsworth's character, was there and he's like, oh no, I recognize him, it's fine.
Yeah.
He's human.
Well, maybe he won't be so lucky next time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's had some free passes, so very interesting.
Yeah.
My what you missed is at the beginning, the new character, who the internet's saying her name is Grace. Very interesting. It wasn't mentioned in the episode, but she has this little book that she was very secretive of. And then she opens it up, and then there are like 2 hexagon symbols in there with like a little intersecting part there. Now, I don't know if the audience noticed this, but in the season premiere, when Bernard was in the bunker with, what's her name? I keep forgetting her name.
Charlotte?
Charlotte, yes. She's in the bunker, he's in the bunker with her, and she's logging on to the computer mainframe, and you see that very same symbol come across the screen on the computers. So, what does that symbol mean? Who knows? I think it might be a symbol or a location on a map. It's like one of the bunkers, I think.
Okay.
It could be the bunker, like the bunker where they keep all the DNA of the guests and stuff like that. It could be the Valley Beyond. I do have a prediction about that a little bit later, but obviously I'll talk about that later.
Bernard, you made it out alive. Didn't think you had it in you.
So Phoebe, you have a big prediction about Teddy. How about you share it with us?
Okay, well, I think that it's no secret that in the first episode, when we see all of the hosts face down, there was a host that was given particular emphasis that looked a lot like Teddy. And we were sort of questioning why he would be in that situation. We had predictions about whether or not Delores was going to purposefully kill all of the hosts and then revive them as an army.
You had some good predictions about that previously.
Very good, in fact. But this episode kind of made me question my own assumptions. When Teddy is, he seems to be having a bit of a crisis. He sees Delores doing all of these horrible things. She betrayed people who were on her side, and a lot of people lost their lives as a result. Well, hosts lost their lives as a result.
Because not everybody can make it to the
Exactly.
Valley Beyond.
She's becoming more and more like Wyatt, which we said before. She's very, very savage. So at the very end of the episode, when she's talking to Teddy and she's telling him to take the last of the Confederados out and put them down like dogs. One of the Confederados, I should say, is really giving him a lot of shit. He's saying like, you're a coward and you're pathetic, and you could see Teddy sort of agrees with him, and I agree with him too, that Teddy has sort of been like so impressionable this whole season.
Oh, for sure.
He's so boring in my opinion.
He literally has no vision, and
Exactly, yeah. He's just sort of like doing whatever Delores says. So he finally makes a decision for himself, and he says, just go, just go. But little does he know that Delores is watching.
Yes.
So my prediction now is that Delores did not kill all of these hosts as a means to revive them to be her army, or maybe she did, but she killed Teddy because she doesn't trust him anymore and because she is completely gone off the handles. So it remains to be seen, but I think that she will probably just kill Teddy and let him go.
You know what? I completely agree. When I saw that scene unfold and she's just like sneaking behind the wall, spying on them, I was like, this is not good for Teddy. I was very happy that he made that decision because it was like the first one he made that he truly seemed to believe. And just, it was the right decision in my opinion.
It finally showed that his character has a backbone.
Yes.
I just felt like he was so devoid of substance for this entire season, and it's like finally he is standing up for what he believes in.
Yeah, totally. So one of my predictions, Ghost Nation was pretty prominent in this episode. In the middle of it and at the end. In the middle, basically, Maeve and her group are trudging through, and they come into contact with Ghost Nation. They're like, oh yeah, you can continue on your way, but we're taking this guy, and they point to Lee. And if you notice, the only difference between Lee and Maeve and the other man character, who I'm completely blanking on his name, Hector, he's human. So interesting that they singled him out. And when they decide to run away, they don't start throwing their spears. There's no bow and arrows. There's no attempt to kill anyone. They just chase them. So you can tell that, they just want to collect Lee. Why is that? And then at the end of the episode, when Grace washes up on shore, Ghost Nation is there again. And you know what? They don't kill her, or at least they don't do anything to her for now. So that leads me to believe that Ghost Nation is rounding up humans.
Ooh.
Why would that be the case? I don't know. But I have another prediction. One of my favorite characters from season 1, Elsie, was seemingly killed by the hands of Bernard. But we haven't seen her at all in season 2. She has gone on record, the actress, to say that she is going to come back in season 2. So I don't think she's dead. Obviously she's not, she's gonna come back. But I think that she has found a way to reprogram Ghost Nation into serving her.
Wow,
So
that's
I think
really
she's
interesting.
kind of building a little bit of a group or an army. What's the reason? I'm not quite sure yet, but I think we're gonna find out soon. Another prediction of mine is the mystery woman Grace. I think that she is William's daughter.
Whoa.
And that's a big one, I
Whoa.
think. It might not happen, but let's look at the key points here. One, she has that book with the map and that symbol that is clearly important to the Delores company. And how else would she know that if she didn't have some sort of connection to the company? And the connection is her father right there.
Yeah.
And I thought this was very interesting. At the beginning of the episode, she's like, she's about to hook up with this guy, and she's like, I have to make sure you're not a robot. And she goes all the way to like shooting him just to make sure that he's human. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that her father fell in love with a robot, and she just doesn't want to fall into the same kind of trappings and fallings that her father did. So we still don't know what the symbol is. I kind of have a theory. It's one of those secret bunkers located around Westworld that kind of harvests this DNA from guests and stuff. But we're still gonna have to wait and see. But I think the big gist of that prediction is that it's his daughter.
That's
So,
really interesting.
Yeah, we'll see.
I have another prediction that has to do with the very end scene of this episode.
Oh, that was a good one too.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
So we see Maeve, we see Lee, we see Hector, and they're sort of walking into this snowy area. And they don't know where they are, and somebody suggests that possibly they're at the end of the park. They're not really sure. And we see Lee digging in the snow. He picks up a severed head, and it's crazy. And then we see somebody
crazy.
coming at them wielding like a samurai sword.
Yeah.
So as we know, there is a park called Shogun Park, thanks to the promotional information that has been released by the show.
Yeah.
My prediction is that Maeve and the samurais will team up and create an army. And the reason why I think this is because in the trailer for the season 2, there's a quick shot of Maeve in a kimono.
This is true.
This is really interesting, and I think that this will probably lead to a very, very deadly confrontation between Delores' army of Confederados versus Maeve's army of samurais.
This is
I think that would be
so
pretty crazy.
You don't think that samurai dude kills anyone in that scene?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Because obviously, like, Maeve is one of the most important people, and she's also very persuasive.
Yeah.
Not to say that she's manipulative, but I think that she can be very persuasive. She's much more level-headed than Delores is in sort of explaining her revolution to people.
Right.
So I think that she'll be able to get them on her side quite easily.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So those are some pretty good predictions, guys, and we're going to do it all again next week on Monday on MojoTalks' Watch Club. So please be sure to subscribe for more. And you know what? If you like TV stuff or if you like film stuff, Phoebe and I are on another little show called The Cinephiles Extended Cut, which airs every Friday. So for myself and Phoebe, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.
So that's our breakdown. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. Check out our other episodes here and some of your other favorite shows right here.